Alright, we are recording, continuing Deus Ex Mankind Divided. It has been, actually, a couple days? I think I last recorded on Wednesday and this is Saturday. Thursday I had to do other things. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that in the previous one. And then yesterday on Friday, I just decided I wanted to work on editing a story. I felt more like doing that, lying back, being able to do that with my fancy new laptop, than do additional recordings. I was like, I knew I had the weekend, so yeah. Also, I should acknowledge I haven't been sleeping well or something, so I'm actually feeling kind of tired, not feeling all that great. So should be able to get through this without issue. But yeah, I would not be surprised if I don't do as many today as I could do on other days. Okay. Is there anything else to mention with that? I don't quite remember. But one thing that I can talk about is, and this dates the video, but then there's other places you can see the date in these things anyway. It was yesterday, I believe it was, that the announcement of Akira Toriyama's death was released. Which, the announcement, because he had apparently died, I think I've heard March 1st. But, and I'm very thankful for this, they were able to keep that news from going public so that his family could have a private funeral. Which it's like, I'm thankful for that, because if that's what they wanted, then that's what they should get. I mean, that's just how I feel about that kind of situation. But it's Akira Toriyama.
I've lived in Prague my whole life.
I've not seen anything about any kind of like public memorial, but if they do that, there will literally be millions of people going to Japan for it. Right. Now I'm not really one of them. I'm not a big fan of the Dragon Ball stuff. I am aware of it. And the funny thing is, I actually did grow up at the time that you had, like Dragon Ball Z, damn it, come to, oh no, it is right here, come to America via Toonami and such. It's just didn't really watch it. So, or at least not enough that I would really be paying much attention to it. I mean, yeah, I remember what it is, so.
What kind of information you're looking for?
All right, inspire me.
A commercial airliner went down recently, over an ionospheric research facility. Plane went down because of whatever the military was doing there, not because of some augmented passenger like Picus claims.
Shit, man! This is it! This is headline fucking material! You did good, man. Real good. Anything else?
No, that's it.
That's cool, man. This should be more than enough.
Yeah, should be for you.
Bones has been typing up a storm already. We pulled all our Picus theories together and laid out some preliminaries. If you did your job right, this should help fill in the blanks.
So we're done here.
Almost. We need to make sure this issue gets the publicity it deserves. There's a city information hub we want you to hack. It's on your way out, I promise.
All right.
Okay. Yes, and so even though it's like, you know, all the Dragon Ball stuff, and that, I know he did other things, but it's like, it's really only that I have any amount of familiarity with, and I have watched through Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball Super. But it's just, it didn't really connect with me. I still have absolute respect for the man and what he achieved. I mean, it is interesting to me in a mildly weird way. Just, it's not interesting as in observing others, and I find that curious, but just like observing myself, and it's like, I know this man had such a massive impact, but, and I do recognize the loss, but it's just not really hitting me personally. And I feel, and it makes me feel a little awkward, because like there's so many people, whoa, okay, this is not good. Like that could be the game crashing kind of thing. So I actually do want to stop, and I will relaunch the game. There should be an autosave or something nearby, but no, that's... I really don't want the game to crash, because even though I'm in a window, I would not be surprised if it propagates and crashes other things. Say one thing I could try doing, although that'll mess up some stuff. I'm pretty sure it is running in DirectX 12. I could bump this to DirectX 11. That might be more stable. Hasn't hooked in yet, but it has opened up. The game is... There we go. Come on. But I don't know. I guess maybe I just can process it. I'm just processing his death differently than others because, as I said, it's not a huge connection. But yeah, I watched through all that stuff because it's actually kind of funny how it worked out. Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Super were on Hulu, and we have that. And it's like, yeah, I'll watch through those. I want to know those stories because I know that they are significant. Have had a huge impact on the world. I mean, it's like I said, literally millions of people would go to a memorial, would go to Japan for a memorial to honor that man. And there would be many, many more who the only reason they're not going is because something is preventing them from going. Okay? I mean, it's... His impact is... it's almost impossible to quantify for so many people of my generation. And that's why I wanted to watch through all this stuff. Well, not GT. I've not heard greatest of things there. As far as the story goes, I mostly just wanted to watch through and see the stories. But yeah, and see the game is behaving much better. So it was actually kind of funny though, because like Dragon Ball was there, Dragon Ball Super was there, but they didn't have any version of Dragon Ball Z. They finally put Dragon Ball Z on there, but it's like I watched through Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Super, and I had some knowledge of Dragon Ball Z, so it wasn't like I was not lost just because of not having watching Super but not having watched Z. Do I have one? Oh, I do. But one thing kind of amusing, well, in a very coincidental way, where it's just like, huh, that's kind of curious. I actually finished watching Dragon Ball Z Kai on Hulu not that long ago. I think it was before, but potentially I did actually like finish watching the day he died.
Access granted.
Yeah.
Okay, you there?
Who is this? How'd you get this number?
I did what you asked. Samizdat should have no problem getting its message out now. You remember our deal?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't compromise whatever little game you're playing over at that import company.
Try to keep a low profile. If Picus wasn't gunning for you before, they will be now.
Don't worry. Just make sure you remember who the good guys are.
But yeah, and it is also, I can just add this. Some of the storytelling, it's been long enough since watching through like Dragon Ball and Super, but some of the storytelling in those and in Z is definitely very good. I mean, it's like watching through it was also, it wasn't just a, oh, now I know what people are referring to kind of thing. There was some element of that, but also an element of just, no, this is genuinely, there's good storytelling here, good characters, in some ways, very good characters. I'm like seeing Vegeta's growth throughout Dragon Ball Z is, you know, it's really, really impressive. And it also, because as I said, I watched through Super first, and so certain aspects of his character had already been achieved as far as his development. So he's like, they happen in Z, and Super happens after the bulk of Z, but before the last tournament that Z ends on. So it's like I didn't know all that stuff. Like so what I was already familiar with Dragon Ball Z would have been based more or less from the start, though not perfectly, to and it's doing that again. That's, and I don't know why it's not letting me save. Like, that is actually very troubling. Okay. I just made a quick save, but let's do this. I do not know what is wrong. I really don't. Okay, so I'm just gonna restart it. Again, hopefully it sticks. I don't want to stop the recording and do some stuff to try to more permanently fix this. And what's weird is it hasn't been doing this before. I don't know what could have changed that would lead to this. Anyway, but yeah, so my familiarity with Dragon Ball Z would basically have been from the start of it through, definitely through the Frieza saga and through to Cell, but the Majin Buu stuff, no. I mean, I was aware of Majin Buu as a character, but a lot of the stuff there, which is also, at least in Kai, that's where a lot of the development for Vegeta is. So finally getting to see through that, yeah, I do now see. I'd have to rewatch Super, and I don't feel like doing that to see how it all ties back in. But yeah, I mean, it still is. I am glad I did watch through it. Very glad I did. But it is also interesting seeing more stuff talking about his impact, because I mean, some of it I was aware of, some of it I genuinely was not, and it is, you know, as I said, millions would go to a memorial for him. Absolutely millions. Alright, come on. There we go. I do not know, but exploding polygons is never a good thing.
Don't see anything.
Popadneme jednoho z nich a vyslechneme.
I want my brain to turn back on, and it's not wanting to at the moment. I'm just trying to think what else I could say. I mean, I guess just there's also an element of I wanted to look at it, not just for the. It was impactful on my generation, but I haven't experienced that myself, so want to watch them. But there's also the whole, because, you know, I write stories, I tell stories myself. So there is also the desire to see something that was wildly successful and maybe try to figure out some of the reasons why. And I don't feel like speculating on that at the moment. I don't.
I don't know exactly, but someone thought...
I don't know how I could do so well enough, because it's not like I've studied what he did. And I also, okay. This is the code I got in the apartment however long ago. Okay. Okay, so potentially...
Anomaly detected. Trace program initiated. Access
Alright,
granted.
we're good. Well... I'll be able to come back and do stuff to it later, so... But yeah, I don't have that ability unlocked.
Get this back to the lab.
Okay. I didn't realize that this is what I'd be doing here.
All clear. Not the fucking thing to worry about.
Reminds me of that Oral Cemetery song.
That this would be combat. I did not realize that. Now I really wish I did have the Dominion thing, because I would pick up the turret and bring it over here. There we go. And yep, because they are not telepaths. Some games do that to you. They make the guards like this telepathic.
What the fuck is Swan?
Alright. So what's behind me is an alarm.
Anomaly detected. Trace program initiated. Access granted.
Okay. Turn all those off. Can't do anything with that. I can turn that off. And there. Okay. So that's... Yes, the alarm panel is just shut off.
Tempting to try the neon, but I should not.
Everything is fine. We're ramping up too fast. We should slow down production. People love film.
I don't know if this will work, but let's do it. Okay. Oh, that's right. I do kind of remember this
Why
now.
are you attacking
She's
us?
been kidnapped,
What
so...
did Neon never do to you?
Don't be so surprised. I've seen what your product does to Augs. Neon was bound to draw attention.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted to click on OBS so I can see the record time.
You shouldn't even be here. Give me one good reason not to trigger the alarm.
For starters, because I can move a lot faster than you. So how about neither of us do anything rash just yet?
What is it you expect from me? I'm just a chemist here.
Yeah, because I wanted it shut down.
Product that kills people. I'm not leaving until that's no longer possible. And you're gonna help me.
Why would I help you? People have a right to disconnect from the world. To do whatever
Read a good
they
book.
want to their minds, their bodies. I see no reason why that should stop.
Things in Prague aren't exactly looking up right now. I'm not saying Neon is responsible for that, but it certainly isn't helping. Not me, not you, not anyone. Now, as resourceful as I may be, you know this lab better than I do. I'm asking for your help.
You're right. Recreational drug use is not the reason the world is falling apart. If anything, riding the rainbow is one of the few things still holding some of us up. Why take that from me? Why take it from anyone?
Okay, so Omega.
I'm not convinced I actually need your help. It's pretty obvious that all I have to do is shoot a couple of these tanks. Any monkey with a gun can do that.
You mean the reactors? You're not serious, are you? You wouldn't actually be that reckless, would you?
Why not? I'm here to halt the production of Neon, sabotage this whole operation. I think my way sounds pretty good.
Your way would kill us all! Please, for everyone's sake, you have to rethink your plan. Please.
I'm overthinking all this. I'm asking some high school chemistry dropout for information she probably doesn't even have access to. Information I don't even need. Bad things inside of tank shoot tank. So obvious it hurts.
I'll tell you what hurts. Toxic explosions. Neon may make people see rainbows, but it's not rainbows inside those reactors. My god, you would actually go through with it, wouldn't you? Please, I'll do anything. Just do not shoot the reactors.
You're making the right choice.
What is it exactly you need from me?
You're the expert here. Anything I do is likely to cause an explosion neither of us
I mean,
want.
why not?
So I'm just gonna sit back and watch you sabotage your operation for me.
It's not exactly my operation. More of a collective, really. I'm just one chemist.
One chemist who I assume knows how to do what I'm asking.
Yes, I know how. I'll take care of it. Just try not to get in the way.
This reminds me of something. I watched through CSI similar to how I watched through the Dragon Ball stuff. And there's one episode where it's like, whoever wrote this is an idiot. Because I mean, it's like the whole premise to it. I get how they're trying to stick it to the man kind of stuff, but it's like, yeah, but the arguments you're presenting, you're also presenting the counter arguments too at the same time. So
It's done. No more synthesis. No more neon.
Hang on, I just want to. Okay. So it's not even all that necessary there. Ooh. So I can do stuff with that thing now. Okay. Oh no, is it over here? Yes, it's over here. But yeah, it was an episode where I don't remember all of it, but it involved a guy who worked in like the PR department or something, of a, pharmaceutical company. Their whole shtick was basically, you know, sticking into, companies that they could make, cures is the theory, for various illnesses, but drug companies don't because it makes more money to just have therapeutics. And it's like, this is actually false. But what they are just showing there is that yes, this multi-million, if not billion-dollar drug company has decided not to make this, and it was still a therapeutic. It wasn't a actual cure. But they decided we can't do that because it's too expensive to manufacture this. But this guy who has no chemistry background beyond maybe something in high school managed to make essentially what was like a meth lab. In fact, when they found it, that's what they thought it was initially. Where it was just, you know, something in a trailer. And he was able to manufacture enough of it at a good enough quality for his wife, who suffered from the disease, from the illness. It's like, but this shows that the drug company actually could have made it very cheaply if you can do it. So, like, the whole argument for this is that, no, you just needed the guy to, like, go to the chemist and be like, hey, my wife is actually one of the patients for this. I've looked it over and I figured out how I can make this myself. Can I get you guys to start making this again? Because clearly it can be made very cheaply. That's okay. I mean, it really was stupid. But it is also that drug companies make far, far, far more money from things like painkillers, which they're always going to be selling those. Because people always have pain. It's like ibuprofen makes more money for, I don't remember who it is that makes that, but it makes more money for them than, like, chemotherapy drugs. Because that always sells. And it's also, you always have people, like, the cold is always going to exist, kind of thing. So, okay. Yeah, see, these painkillers here. So things that for treating the common cold, things for treating the flu, those will always sell. So yeah, you don't. That's why actually there are some drugs. I can't think of them, but there are some drugs, and well, there are also companies that all they do is make drugs that making them actually at a loss. But they just feel that these drugs need to be produced because the patients need them, and so they still do that. It's like a drug company that has massive cash flows from these other things. Obviously, they can do the same.
My favorite art.
And in some cases, they do. It's more so other things that are going on with pricing. That's at one point I understood it better, but it's been a while. Yes. But we have this weird thing in America where there's basically drug companies don't sell their drugs directly to anyone. What's actually going on is there's a rebate system and a middleman.
Get out of here then.
And that is where you're actually seeing the drug prices being so volatile, because the middlemen that negotiate, and they get, you know, it's like if let's say the drug costs, you know, I'm gonna say a dime to make, so 10 cents. And the drug company just wants to sell it at like a dollar a vial or whatever. Okay? Just using that nonsense example. The middleman would be like, okay, well, in that 90 cents is the profit for me and the profit for you. But if I sell it for $2, then that's more profit for me, more profit for you. And it's that middleman that's making that decision. And this, by the way, is also why it had been for a very long time they decided to, with the Inflation Reduction Act, to change it, why Medicare and Medicaid and such are actually banned. Like, there's federal law saying they cannot be involved in the negotiations of these prices. That bill changed it. So now certain drugs they can negotiate. But there's a very good reason why they were banned from doing so. And I'm serious, this is federal law. Is because they have no fiscal responsibility. Medicare and Medicaid are backed by the general tax. They're on budget, so all tax money, all tax revenue to the government can't support that. They could say that, so the middleman could say, I want this to be $100 a vial. Medicare and Medicaid can just say, okay, we'll write you the check. An insurance company that actually has to be profitable, because they can't compel people to pay them money like the government can with taxes.
Another one.
Thank you.
They can't do that. Right, so that's part of the reason why. And that's also why, like, the whole, some people say, it's like, go to Canada to buy drugs and then bring them back down here. Or why are they so much less expensive in Canada? It's because the government taxes are actually paying for it. That is also part of it. Which means that you are technically, if you do that, you're stealing from... And this isn't any kind of commentary on somebody's situation. If that's what you have to do, then it's what you have to do.
I finally decrypted the audio off the Whisper chip tab.
But, you are technically stealing from the Canadian
My
taxpayer.
hands full right now. Tell me where you are and I'll come when I can.
There's an old limb clinic in the Davney district. It's closed down. Nobody goes there anymore. I'll be inside.
But yeah, it's just... It's not a great situation, no. But it's like, that's where the actual effort would need to be to make a difference there, is with the middlemen. Far more with that. And it's also, I want to say that some of the, because there's different things, I think GoodRx is one of the names. I know that there are others, though, where it's like, you can go to the pharmacy and you can get discounts, but one thing about that, if you do it, you're paying it all out of pocket. You can't, none of it can be on your insurance. I'm pretty sure it is because you're basically getting those rebates that the insurance company would get, but because they're the ones that negotiated with the middleman, but because it has to go through various things within the insurance company and all that, that's why it ends up can be more expensive there. And also this happens to hospitals too, where they're the ones having to pay the middleman, and it is screwed up, yes, but it's not the drug company. And I know there's a lot of people, no, it has to be. No, it's not exclusively the drug company that's determining any of those prices. It is also those middlemen, and figuring out ways to control that would be far better. And it's like, hey, CSI could have done that, but no, they attacked the drug company.
I appreciate you coming in to speak with me, and...
Because that's what the thing to do was at the time, and still is.
Are you okay? I've seen footage from the train station, but being there must have...
Is that what this is about?
No, that was sympathy. This is a standard agent health interview to determine combat readiness. Here, I got you this from the dispensary.
You got me neuropazine? Look, Doc, I was caught off guard by a terrorist attack. Might have knocked some things out of whack, but it doesn't mean my body's gonna start rejecting my augments.
True, but traumatic experiences can kick a hornet's nest into the immune system in patients with neuroprosthetics.
Would you believe me if I told you my body doesn't reject mechanical implants?
No. But my policy is for straight talk only in the room, so if you want me to believe that you're some kind of medical miracle, I guess I'll have
Full
to go.
premise to the first game.
Please, have a
Well,
seat.
the previous game, I should say. But the original Deus Ex is set after this, because neuropathy, I think isn't used there.
Mind if we take a trip down memory lane?
Is this gonna take long?
It says here that you were with Detroit SWAT, but left in 26 to head up Seraph Industries Security Division. David Seraph was at the center of America's augmentation debate.
Yeah.
Are you asking me or telling me?
Which would you prefer? Not everyone's as familiar with US history as you Americans would like to believe, you know.
Where are you from, Doc?
We're discussing your file, remember? So, it was David Seraph.
I mean, while that's
who had
fair,
augmented after Antioch extremists
focuses on
attacked
you.
the company.
You do need to build a rapport. What did she say?
I may not have chosen to be augmented, Doctor, but I'm alive today because of it.
And living in a world where people fear and hate the augmented. You know, in the eyes of society, you've become the enemy, Adam. Which actually leads me to my next question. So far, no one's claimed responsibility for the attack at Rizika. But with the human restoration vote coming, well, it's no secret Prague has become the symbol of legalized augmented oppression.
And the Augmented Rights Coalition is camped at its back door, trying to expose and resist it.
Most of the world thinks of them as terrorists. Augmented terrorists. If it turns out they are guilty, well, being augmented yourself...
How am I gonna feel?
It is more complex than that, but it's like there literally is a ruling class. It's the Illuminati that are controlling some of this. So yeah, let's go with
There are
that.
no easy answers, Doc. If the Augmented are behind this, maybe they felt it was their only recourse. Or maybe terrorism would stop if the ruling class realized how often their own actions contribute to it.
So investigating ARC, there's no value conflict for you?
Right now, I'm just a cop, and it's criminals that are responsible for this chaos, augmented or not. My job is
Yes,
to prevent further
that is
bloodshed.
completely true.
That's good to hear. Listen, Adam, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me.
I didn't realize I had a choice.
You didn't? Still, I thank you. I'll let the director know that I'm officially clearing you for the field.
Well, it's probably best if I get back to work, Doc. I'll see you around.
And by the way, one thing that I also just occurred to me with how some of that was going, that yeah, the whole drug company's pushing certain. Okay, he's just like over here, pushing drugs. Oh yeah, there are definitely instances of that happening that was needed to be stopped as well. I'm not saying drug companies are perfect, not by any stretch. It's just some of the controversy around them is not directed where it needs to be. And just the, that one CSI episode was just such a painful example of that, because, like, this doesn't make sense.
How's it going? Do you have the scan?
Yeah, it's right here.
It's like, the dude literally proved that it can be made cheaply, which means he go to the drug company, they'll make it, it's fine.
Left here. I don't need to give him another excuse to chew me out.
He left. Where'd he go?
Didn't ask, didn't think he wanted me to know. Did those state police jerks give you any grief?
It's like you said. They shot first, so I took care of it.
Oh, okay. Good. They had it coming.
So what's on the scan?
I didn't well, maybe the guy in the suit.
What? You told me you found something big.
I didn't say I knew what it was, Adam. I said it was something that could blow this case wide open. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not buying this whole ARC did it angle. I believe what the evidence tells me. This DSD has all the answers we need, from the chemical makeup of the explosive used down to the material in the victim's clothing. I'm sure of it.
Okay, so how long until we're all...
Should have been an apostrophe there.
Oh, it'll take hours to sift through the data, and I'm seeing Sonia later to apologize for any issues I may have caused with the state police. Plus, I do have other cases to work on too, Adam. I'll let you know when I find something.
You do that.
Take it easy.
I don't think there's any reason to stick around here, by the way. So yeah, let's just head back up and out.
You didn't get held up at a checkpoint or something, did you? I'm inside the clinic waiting for you.
Sorry, Alex. I'll be there as soon as I can.
Hope you're not losing sight of what's important here. Sorry, this place just brings back memories. Don't take too long.
You know, there really actually should be a false floor that's put in here, because otherwise you'd have to always lock the door whenever the elevator is down. Okay. I'm just... Yeah. So there's just that left to do. Oh, but, yeah, so some of the thinking the reason why I was reminded of that is how potentially that psychiatrist could have just been, well, no, I'm going to clear you, let's just go through this and satisfy my conclusions anyway. I don't remember the name of it, but however long ago, some people actually did a study where they took actual mental health professionals, like doctors and nurses, and put them into a mental health, like an insane asylum kind of thing. It was long ago that would have been the term used, at least by common people, by lay people. They put them in there so that they could see what the experience was. And if I remember correctly, the majority of them, even though they were perfectly sane, and they were screened beforehand to make sure of that, even though they were perfectly sane going in, the employees working there, like the other trained doctors and trained nurses, treated them as though they were insane, because they just assumed, you're here, you must be insane. Psychology and psychiatry is one of those weird things where it's like, yeah, if you're not very careful, you end up just applying what you think is going on to the people. So it is like, no, she legitimately could have just been, I'm gonna clear, wait, what? Game just crashed. Okay. I alt-tabbed, though, everything is fine. Okay, you know what I'm gonna do? Here's what I'm gonna do. Get rid of that. If you use the launch flag dash benchmark, you won't get the launcher, you won't get the videos, the launch videos. And by the way, I do not know where the last save was. So I do want to open this back up before ending the video, but I'm going to open up the launcher. There, I've just turned off DirectX 12, so it should be using DirectX 11 now. Play it, and we're going to get well, actually, I don't know. It might not connect in, because it might be a different EXE. Okay, so you're hearing the AMD Gaming Evolved. No, it looks like it should hook in. This hasn't yet. You can do it, OBS, come on. It also might be that it can't hook into the videos. But I am at the game proper. Huh. There we go. Okay. So let's do this. Figure it out. But yeah, that has... So hopefully with it being DirectX 11, it'll be fine. I really hope I don't need to stop doing this. Oh, man. I'm sorry, it's just... I got enough stress in my life at the moment. With other things going on. Hey, you know what? One more thing I can add concerning the whole drug company thing. Do you know how much it costs to make a drug? It's actually really interesting to know some of the stats there. Okay, we're right here, so I'm just gonna give it a proper save. And can actually, yeah, just leave it here. But it can be, when I saw it, this was like over 10 years ago, $15 million for one drug. And the way that the actual process is they make up like a dozen at a time. It's kind of a shotgun thing where they hope one of them will work, but they will make them all up. They also file the patents then. figure out how to manufacture them in large enough quantities for testing. Then they go through the clinical trials, find that a lot of them aren't effective, you just won't do what you need them to do, can't be manufactured at scale, aren't stable, so they just decay on the shelf. They'd find out things like that. And if they're lucky, they'll end up with one that's viable, and then they need to go through all the FDA clinical trials, which the FDA can just capriciously decide, nah, that drug is rejected, and not even give a reason. And I'm dead serious. They can just decide, I don't like this drug existing, do another one. And there's nothing a drug company can do when that's the case. And so then all that ends up being thrown. So all that money ends up being just wasted because you can't sell the drug. It's not in America. That's why some drugs you will see not in America but in other countries, because their regulatory bodies did allow them. And it's also part of the whole thing why, is it aspirin or is it penicillin? One of the two, I don't remember which, is used as an example of, yeah, this drug would never get through the FDA today. Can't remember which it is. But anyway, but it's also, there's a reason why I said that they make the patent so early, because all that testing can take so many years, and patents only 20 years long, that's also why you'll see some drug companies, when they finally get a drug out, it may be very expensive at the start, but then when generics get involved, that it's much cheaper. Generics will wait until the patent runs out. It's because they have to fund the development. The original manufacturer has to fund the development of it that was in tens of millions of dollars. And they don't even have the full 20 years to do so. So they have to try to recoup it very quickly. And it's also, doctors don't want to prescribe new drugs. Excuse me. Yeah, they don't want to prescribe them because they don't know them. They don't have an experience with them yet. So it's like, if there were a new painkiller, let's just say, is that as an example, it's like, yeah, I got this, but I've never worked with it before. I don't know how it'll help you or not. So they might not even bring it up to a patient. A patient might be like, yeah, I'd be willing to try it, but the doctor might not do it just because, like, I don't know, don't have any experience with it. So yeah, it really is a very complex topic, and it is very fascinating when you start finding out some of the details of it, from various things. Like, for me, a lot of it were science press releases. I think some of that, like the $15 million, and it is higher now. It is absolutely more expensive now. And you, as I said, it's you can start off with a dozen in the lab, but by the end, nope. It's one, if you're lucky. It might be none that you can actually go to the FDA with. It might be that all of them failed. So yeah, it's a very complex thing. And for anyone that if you don't just think that I'm some raving lunatic, for anyone that's curious, look it up. It is a fascinating thing to read about. I mean, it's like, I'm also weird. I like knowing about science, and there's a good amount of science and chemistry involved here, but also the realities of patents, the FDA, and such like that. And how prices are set. All that. It's one of those things. I do think that knowing it better is a good thing. And it is interesting that there's a lot of things to learn. Alright, so we're going to stop this and see you next time. With probably less takes on the drug company thing, pharmaceuticals. Yeah. See you then.